This is the fatherhood experience. Turn it up, cause tonight you'll learn how to leave behind the average dad life. This the fatherhood experience. It's time to lead my family and become the father figure I deserve to be. The fatherhood experience.
Okay, welcome to our Tuesday class. I'll give you guys a little bit of a rundown. So first and foremost, welcome. I know we got a small group today, so I'll just go ahead and show you guys this. This is my current status. I am sleeping on the floor, sitting on the floor. Right now, I think we have a washer, a dryer, and about 4 or 5 boxes in my house, and we don't move till Friday, so I got 2 more nights sleeping on the floor. But fun stuff. So we're fixing leaks and all kinds of stuff here. We are under contract. And we're moving forward. So we are selling our house, but we still do not have a place to live. We will be living with my mother-in-law for the foreseeable future. So I'm excited about that. So Zach will have a baby soon, and I will be living with my mother-in-law. You guys choose your poison, right? So, all right, let's dive in. Tonight, we are talking about creating and establishing. Yeah, thanks, TJ. I appreciate that. We're talking about creating and establishing family core values. And really, there's a lot of different angles we can take with this, but most of you have been around long enough to have gone through our core value classes before, or at least attended one of those. There's some stuff in the curriculum around family core values. The way that I wanted to kick this off, and really we'll get Zach to share a word or two here too, but I wanted to kick this off really about about forming a new identity, right? Like I got on a podcast today with a dude, and he was asking me, what was his question? He's like, what's the biggest challenge? What's the biggest piece of advice you would give somebody going from being really overweight, not doing anything, to like actually creating change? And I was like, well, tell them the truth. Like they need to hear the truth first and foremost. And you guys know that we're all about telling the truth, and you guys need to hear it. The truth hurts sometimes, but it gives you the most ammunition for change. And then I went into the identity change thing, and the reality is all of you guys have formed a new identity since you've been here. You're not the same old Jerry. You're not the same old Dave. You will not be the same Bruce, right? Same for you, TJ and Jason. Like you guys are becoming new men, whether you believe it or not. You're performing and a new non-negotiable set of priorities, and you've raised your standards, and you will continue to raise your standards as we move forward. So, Zach, how would you like to kick us off tonight, dude?
Well, family core values is something that we have in our curriculum, right? Is there anybody here that has not actually watched that module or that component, that part, whatever it is that you want to call it, in the curriculum yet?
Any of you guys?
I'm wondering if there is, man, because what I'd like to do, it's been quite some time since we actually went over our own core values. So just kind of what I want to do is help to establish these core values with some of these guys, and just kind of share the ones that I have from my family. You could probably do the same as well. Just kind of give them something to get some momentum in terms of getting started here, because the reality is values, like I looked up the definition just so I could be super crystal clear of what this is. Value, noun, the regard that something is held to deserve, the importance, worth, or usefulness of something. Now, the reason why values are so fucking absolutely critical is because the values that you instill into your children, into your wife, into whoever it is that you surround yourself by, that is going to shape the way that their thought processes work. And we know that life is nothing but a game of your mind. That's really all it is. What you think, how you think, will determine whether you are a positive person, a negative person, an action taker, or an overthinker, whether you're a winner or a loser. So values are extremely important, so we can make sure that we are training our mind to think in a certain way, right? Because what is a habit except something that you do all the time? And we say it all the time that you're forming these habits whether you like it or not. So the importance of having these core values is to always be able to refer back to them so that we can train our brain to think in that manner. So everything that we do, everything that we say, everything that we think will always reflect back to those values that we set ourselves to, because our values are nothing but our set of standards as well. And it is extremely important because we hear this crap all the time, right? My family has just always been fat. My family is full of singers. People think that just because you're born into something, that's just the nature of the family and that it will never change. It's bullshit. The reason why these core values are so damn important is because you can literally be the person that changes everything, your entire lineage, right? But it starts with you. And it's never, ever, ever too late. I don't care if you're 30. I don't care if you're 99. It does not matter. It is never too late to start. So where I'm starting at is what the hell is a value and why it's so damn important, man, because everything needs to refer back to it. If something goes wrong with your child, for example, right? Let's say your kid or your wife or whatever it is, you can call them out on it. But instead of just calling them out of the blue randomly, like it just seems like you're trying to pick a vote with them, if you could refer them back to one of your core values, you're just like, oh, damn, you can't even contest it anymore. They can't even contest it. That's the importance of having these core values. So on that note, when it comes to core values, you absolutely want to make sure that when you are setting these up, that not only are you just making it yourself, but you're involving your family as well, man, because what other way, like what better way can you have your family on board with your plan and your core values than if they are part of that process, right? So that is it's just such a powerful and simple and effective way for you to be able to refer back to it without having to hear any kind of backlash or contention or anything of that nature, because you guys were in it together and you guys decided as a group, as a whole, as a family unit, that we are going to get better. We are going to retrain our thought processes. We are going to become better and raise our minimum standards. So just like I always say, you want to put whatever productive task in your calendar so it becomes a logical decision, not an emotional one. You want to come up with family core values as a family, because whenever you need to call out your wife or your kid or whatever other kid or whoever else is part of that process, they can't even get mad at it, because this is something that you agreed as a group that you will be doing together so that you can lift each other up simultaneously.
That's I'm glad that you brought that up, because that's why they're called family core values. It gets everybody on the same page, but it also shapes the identity of your family, right? It creates your actions and your habits and your events and your activities are all shaped around these things. If one of your core values is that you prioritize health and that you're a healthy, active family and that you will not waver from that, well, like how does that play into your vacations or your trips and those kinds of things, right? You see the families that go on vacation that literally just go on vacation to eat the entire time and sit by the pool, right? That's fun for a little while. But you also see families that do that for an hour of their time in the evening after they went on a 4-hour hike or they went paddle boating, right? And I know that's just one example, but when you're talking about core values and you've got everybody on the same page, like Zach says, this is your leverage for your family, right? And when you're all on the same page and you all agree that it's one of my family members now. Hey, can you go back downstairs, please? When you all agree that this is who you are and what your family stands for, it makes things a lot easier as a family unit. Because again, when Zach mentioned calling them out, right? Well, what about what about them calling you out, right? Because it can go both ways too. So if you start to sway, and say Zach starts to sway from a core value, and his wife calls him on, it's like, hey, you've been preaching this shit for 5 years, and now you're doing this. Like, pretty easy for Zach to say, oh shit, that's not me. I guess I need to snap out of it, right? And so, as we talk about this tonight, this does not need to be overcomplicated. And I'll challenge some of you guys who have younger kids. My core value list right now is not super deep with my whole family. My wife and I have the things that we share, but my oldest child is 8, and so he knows 2 of them, and that's all I've got him memorized right now. But yes, as we work through this, and as you guys hear more of this, now be thinking about what's most important to you, right? And that way, when we're done with this class, you can go back and have those conversations with your family. And maybe it's a dinner conversation, or maybe it's a you and wife conversation, and then you pull the kids into it. However you go about it is fine. But Zach says it doesn't matter what age you are when you establish these. If you're someone right now who's got teenagers that are, say you got a 14-year-old and a 16-year-old, right? And we're like, fuck, it's too late for core values. No, it's not, because they still have a couple of years left at home. And if they see their parents start taking something very seriously before they leave home, well, now that's going to be a lasting impression for them when they go off to college or go off to trade school or go off and get a job, whatever that looks like for them. And now that's in their mind. It's implanted in their mind that, okay, when I go back home, like, they're talking about this shit that means a lot to them, and I need to be paying attention. Then they come back home, and if it is a health thing, right? Well, now you guys are all on the same page, and your daughter or your son comes home, like, oh, why, man? Like, everybody's eating healthy. We go on family walks now. Like, this is who we are, right? And so this is how powerful this can be. But you have to start with having the conversation.
Yep, 100%, man. So what I want to do is I am going to actually share what our 10 core values are for our family, just to kind of give you guys an idea of like how we roll in our family, right? And to be completely honest with you, I could probably make 20. I could probably do 20 of these things, right? But this was just the first 10 that came to our mind because this is what we find important. But like we said, man, it's never too late. And you definitely want to get your family involved, man, because all we are as parents are people who create new beings who we want to be just better than us, earlier than us. And how we get them to do that is to think in the most productive way possible, the most virtuous way possible, the most righteous way possible, just doing the right thing as much as possible at an earlier age, right? Because we all know how this shit goes. We've all been dumb teenagers, right? We've all done dumb shit, right? But imagine if our family, if our parents grew us, raised us in a manner where we followed certain rules that they refer to over and over and over again. I made one mistake and they relay back with the core value. I'm like, oh snap. Because when you reinforce what behind why, it just makes it that much more powerful. So that's what this is all about. So it's not about just having the core values, but when you see them making that mistake, referring back, hey, what's core value number 3? Boom. Now, when they tell you, they're just like, shit, okay, I messed up. And like Jason said, dude, if I fuck up, my kid can call me out and I will say nothing but you're absolutely right. Because again, it's emotionless. This is a family discussion, something that we all agreed upon because we all want to elevate and be better. So without further ado, I will explain exactly what my 10 core family values are right here and explain a little bit about them. So number 1 for us is always do what's right, not what's easy. We talk about this all the time. Put your damn cart back, right? Do what's right. It might be inconvenient, but if it's what's for the best of everybody or whatever it is, just do the damn work. That's number 1. Number 2, be honest at all times. It seems very simple, but look, guess what? When you have a hard rule and your kid starts acting up a little bit and might say a little white lie or a blatant lie, what's core value number 2, dude? We roll with honesty and integrity in this family here, man. So number 2 is going to be honest at all times. Number 3 is take care of everything as if it were your own. There is nothing worse than the person that abuses other people's shit because it's not their shit, knowing that they could just wipe it up, clean it up, and give it back as if nothing really happened, knowing that they did some internal damage to whatever it is. Car rentals, for example, right? Something like that. So take care of everything as if it were your own. Number 4 is practice gratitude and humility in all things. The gratitude component, we're massively big on that because that shifts your perspective to focus on what is good, not what is bad. You are going to train your brain to focus on negative things or positive things, whether you like it or not. So you better make a conscious effort to focus on that which is good so that you will find the silver lining. You will find the good within the bad, and you will be the person that even though 99% of your day might have been completely fucked, you will focus and you will be like, man, that shit was great. That 1%. That's how we're trying to train our mind versus just focusing on, oh man, not again. Why me? This always happens. Geez, what did I do to deserve this? That's what happens when you don't practice gratitude. It's so damn easy to remember all the shit that happened versus the good that happened. So make sure that we're always practicing gratitude and humility. The reason why that's tacked on to number 4 as well is because we all know that we all have a gauge of humility versus ego. And when our ego is high, we can't learn shit. Okay, everything goes in one ear and out the other. If we do respond back, we're listening just to respond. We're not listening to comprehend and learn. So we got to keep our humility high so we could be lifelong learners for like forever, till the day we die. Humility and ego work inversely. We talk about this all the time, man. So if you want to be a lifelong student, humility always has to be at an all-time high when it's time to shut up and learn. Number 5, always give 100% effort in everything you do. It goes back to the whole how you do one thing is how you do everything. If you're going to half-ass something, why the hell are you going to even do it? Now, I'm not talking about a carnival game or some shit, right? You want to go have some fun, awesome. But if you're going to seriously dedicate yourself to doing something, go in it to win it. This is why I won't do certain things, because I know that if I'm going to do it, I am going to give it my all. I'm going to try to win, right? The shittiest thing that I hear people say is, hey, man, go in as long as you have fun. No, fuck that, dude. It's not about having fun. It's about giving it 100% of your like genuine effort. And if you happen to place last, if you know you gave it your all, you just know that there's more work to be done. That's it. But I don't want to half-ass something and get second place. And I was like, dude, silver's great. Nah, not really, dude. I don't feel good about it because I could have got gold. I should have got gold, right? So sometimes you'll win, sometimes you'll learn. That's really what it's about. But if you're going to commit to something, do it. Because if you treat something like a hobby, you're going to get hobby results back. Trust me, we see it over and over again everywhere. Number 6, life happens for you, not to you. When you think life happens to you, you are a victim. You will never, ever, ever feel like you're out of that hole that you just dug yourself out into mentally. if something happens to me, I take a step back, I assess what happened. I'm like, shit, how can I make sure that doesn't happen in the future? That's how you win. Take a step back, you analyze what happened, and then you fix it moving forward so that you can prevent it from happening in the future. Whereas the other people who just complain, if they just want to play the victim because they're like, why me? Why me? You're always going to lose because you're always just waiting for that next time where you got screwed over so that you could just complain about that for the next however long until it happens again. It's like the news, right? We talk about the news all the time, how damn negative it is, right? They just look for the hot topic that people are just like super controversial, people bitching, whining, complaining. And then when that dies off, they go hop onto the next trend of negativity, right? That's what we never want to be. So life happens for you, not to you. Everything's a learning opportunity. Everything is, you can always grow from something. Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. That's how I like to say it. So, oh shit, that's number 7, as a matter of fact. That's why I say it all the time. Sometimes you win, that's right. Sometimes you learn, and you only lose when you quit. See, I knew there was a reason why I always say that, man. It's one of my family core values, man. That's the reality of what it is. I like to think of your efforts kind of like science, right? We all learned a scientific method when we were in school. Sometimes you're like, oh, hell yeah, this has confirmed what my hypothesis is. And sometimes we're like, holy shit, that is absolutely wrong. But guess what? That's progress in the right direction, because for everything that you do the wrong way, that's one step closer to doing it the right way. You only lose when you completely stop, guys. So like I said, we covered this actually a couple of weeks ago too, I believe, Jason, where we say like fail often, fail fast,
forward, man.
Just make sure that you fail forward and you keep going, man, because that is absolutely part of the process, man. So that's my number 7. And number 8 is action, not perfection. We've covered this in the past as well. Perfectionism is nothing but an excuse to take action. I could speak from firsthand experience because that was me. All right. So now it's all about taking massive action. I'm not saying just be so ignorant that you're potentially going ass backwards. But what I'm saying is just do something, right? I don't know what to eat. What do I eat? I don't know how to get in shape. Yes, you do. You do know. You might not know the fine details, the specifics, the like an exact methodology. You might not know enough. The hurdles, but you damn well know that drinking 6 beers a night ain't gonna do it. You know what I mean? So action, not perfection, man. We want to make sure that we're just doing things. Remember, like I said, fail fast, just fail forward. It's okay. Number 9 is always stay green. So the whole thing of that is always stay green, because the moment that you think you're ripe, you're rotten. When you think that you're at the pinnacle of everything, you think you're at the top of the hill, right? Everybody wants to chop you at the ankles and take you down, man. So if you believe that you're at the top, guess what? Your ego's at an all-time high and you got nowhere to go but down. So if you want to actually feel like you are growing in life, you better make sure that you maintain that humility at all times. Like I said, there's a time and place to raise that ego. But if that ego is up, that humility is down and you are not being a learner. So only raise that ego in the appropriate place of your expertise. Otherwise, make sure that you're always learning. Constantly. And number 10, the only limits that exist are those which you create. So I love this one personally because I always hear all the stereotypical things about this and that. And I'm just like, why do you think that? It's not about this person is that color, this person is this color, that person's a man, that person's a woman. That's not what it's about. What it's about is how much damn work that person put into it. And that's why they're so damn good at what it is that they're doing. And if more people of the other color or the other gender or whatever the hell it is did the same thing, guess what? There'd be more of those too. It's a matter of priority. We talk about that shit all of the time. If it's a priority, then you will train that way. You will focus on that. You will grow and become better at that craft or that sport or that whatever it is. That's what it's really all about, man. So if you think that you're just one of those people, oh, I'm just fat and that's just in my books and that's just the way it is, then of course you are, because you just limited yourself. But that's like a glass ceiling, dude. It's nothing. It's fragile, but you're being contained in an invisible box that you created yourself. That's the importance of being in a community of people who understand that this shit can be done no matter who the hell you are, how old you are, what your starting point is, what your history is, how many times you failed or succeeded. The importance of being surrounded by people like us is that we will never, ever, ever allow you to stay in that box, because that box is where dreams die. That box is where everybody quits. That box is where all the losers get crammed into. And that box are full of the people that have massive regret at the end of their life. Fuck that box. Nobody wants to be in that one, man. So those are my 10 with a little brief explanation, man. Jason, if you want to go ahead and share some of yours.
I'm not going to go 10 deep on them, but I think
you guys have like 4 or something like that. Yeah, no, it's not even, and that's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up too, because look, it's not about how many you have. It's about, do you believe in it? Do you
Yeah.
exemplify that behavior? Do you practice this on a day-to-day basis and refer back to it when need be? That's what it's all about. And the reason why I'm sharing is because I just want to give you guys some type of foundation. Because, dude, if you want to take all 10 of mine, I don't care. Go ahead. Just make sure that
It
it's
got to be
truly something
meaningful.
you
Yeah.
want to accomplish. Yes.
Yeah.
Just make sure it's something you truly want to do. Don't just do it because you're like, oh, that will look cool on the poster. That's shitty, obviously.
Yeah.
If you truly believe it and you want to do those things, man, by all means, take them all. I don't care. Anything
Yeah.
that helps you become a better person in any way, shape, and form, I'm all for. That's what this is all about. That's the power of this community. We all help each other to get better, right? The whole iron sharpens iron thing, man. This is how we roll here, dude. This is a
Well,
bunch of
and
iron
look,
swords.
man, personal development is personal development. If it helps you and it helps me, then it doesn't matter if you created it or I created it. We're both benefiting from it, right? It's just a sentence. I like the poster. I think I brought this up before, but you know, one of my my first, not my first job, it was probably like my 8th job, but it was working for, I was a picker at one of those warehouses where I used to pick those posters, and they the company was called Argus. And if you go and look at all the, I don't know about the new age because shit has changed since when I was in school, but all of those motivational pictures or posters that you saw on the 5th grade and 8th grade classrooms, those are all made at my warehouse. So I have a very vivid memory when you say, well, you want to put that on a poster. I'm like, oh, I saw all those fucking things when I was doing it. Anyway, so I will tell you my 4, and this list will grow. Remember, even though Zach's kid and soon to be kids are younger than mine, you know, for me with the 8-year-old, I'm working on him becoming more well versed in what I'm saying, and so we have further core values than what I'm going to tell you guys here. I think that I did a post. Oh, it was a few weeks back, and when my son commented on, you know, the first things that he wrote in his journal, right? Where, you know, we always lead by example. We're leaders, not followers. Well, that's not one of my core values, but my son already has that memorized, right? So I would say that you could call that a core value. We lead by example at all times, and we lead and not follow, right? So core value can be however you define it, but again, like Zach said, it has to be meaningful. And so for me, core value number 1, and my son has this one memorized to a T because I ask him whenever he is acting out. Personal responsibility. It's number 1 is personal responsibility. We take full responsibility for our actions and inactions at all times. I want to emphasize the inactions because if my son does not do something that I ask or does something that I don't ask, and he tries to blame his brother or his mother or whatever, that's when I want to make sure that he's aware that it's not just his actions that have consequences. It's also his inactions. If you choose to not do something that we asked you to do, then you're going to have the answer to that, right? And so, first one for me is we take full responsibility for our actions and inactions at all times. Number 2 is our character traits. This really is just who I am and what I stand for. And Zach and I have this in business too, but we operate with respect, honesty, and integrity at all times. I've never had a situation in business where I felt the need to lie. And it's just not something that I can do. It pains me to see shady business done. And so I just get that from my own, you know, my own personal character traits. And so instilling that in my son at a young age, the honesty and integrity piece is massive, man. And when some of you guys probably attended our class where I did the little presentation on keeping the open loop of communication with your kids each day, right? So I heard this from another podcast, but it was very much along the lines of, you know, generally speaking, when you ask somebody how their day was, your kid, you know, how was your day today? Oh, it was good. You know, it's fluff, bullshit, nonsense answers. It's like when somebody asks you how you're doing and you say fine, like that's not an okay thing to say. I had a drug counselor tell me that when I was 16 in drug rehab. And he says, you know what fine stands for? Every time I ask you, when you say fine, it means fucked up, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. Are you okay with that? Nope, I am not okay with that. So don't ever tell somebody you're fine unless you're actually fine, which means you're not real good right now. All right. And so for me, I want to operate with honesty and integrity at all times. And for instilling that into my kid. And when I referenced that class that we did, it was very much about keeping an open loop for your kids. It's not just how was your day today. Like, tell me something good about your day. Tell me something negative about your day or something that you would change. And then what are you looking forward to tomorrow? And these questions kind of take different shapes and sizes, and you can change them up as you go. But it's a constant communication loop that you have with your kids. And when you have that, there's that trust that builds, right? They can always tell you the good, but can they tell you the bad? If your kids don't trust you, or are not honest with you to the point where they feel open enough to tell you the bad, well, is that going to mean that they're also not going to call you when they're at a friend's house drunk and they need a ride home, right? I would million and one times over want my 16 or 17-year-old to call me and come get his ass, even if I have to get out of bed. I'm going to be pissed off about it, and we're going to have a lecture, but he's going to be in a world of hurt if he either kills somebody, kills himself, or gets a DWI, right? And so you want to have that honesty and integrity, man. And I'm trying to instill that in my son and soon to be sons. My 2-year-old's starting to catch on a lot more now, almost 3. To learn this so that they know the importance of being honest, right? It's one thing to say we always tell the truth, but it's like, why do we tell the truth? What is the why behind that? And this is why, right? I'm not using the DWI example with my son, but it's like, hey man, like if somebody hurts you at school, I need to know about it. You can't just keep that in and shelter that stuff into your soul and not talk to your parents about it. Kids are very weird about that, as you guys know, right? Like when they're young, it's like they don't really know what they should and can tell their parents. And so I want my kids to feel very confident and comfortable talking about anything with me. I mean, my kid got in the car today and said he sharted, okay, and took off his underwear. And I'm like, well, now I know why my truck stinks. Can you put that back in the bag? And I felt bad for him, right? He was sick yesterday. We kept him home. He was vomiting all day. And he gets in the car and he's like, hey, Dad, like I had a little bit of liquid poop in my underwear. I'm like, oh fuck. And so I know why my truck stinks, but I want him to be able to share those things because how embarrassing for him, right? He was sick yesterday, so he did have a little diarrhea today. And luckily it happened at the end of the day, but just a funny part of the honesty and integrity. Number 3 is faith. We walk by faith and not by fear. That's very important for me. It's very important for my sons to know the value of that and know that you know, as long as they get up and show up every day, there's not really much to be fearful about in life. You know, we're all going to die. We know that. We're all actively dying as we speak. And at the end of the day, we can only control so much. And so I want his faith to be strong. And my wife is Catholic, and this is what we do. So number 4 is growth. We strive for growth in all areas of life and embrace life's challenges with hard work and determination. I'll say that again. We strive for growth in all areas of life and embrace life's challenges and with hard work and determination. So my son, as all of you guys have had kids, most of you guys, they bitch when they want to clean or when you ask them to clean their room, or he whines and moans when I ask him to do chores. This is part of me instilling that desire to get better, right? We talk about 1% better every day mentality in this community. I'm trying to instill that into my son, but with a little bit different terminology, right? And so I don't want you to whine and complain when you got to clean your room. It's just part of life. Life is hard. You guys know this, right? It's going to be hard no matter what. What can you do with it to make it not so hard, or make it a little less hard, or make it more fun? The hard can be a little bit more fun, right? So those are the 4 that I've started with and really given some structure to my family. Again, I would argue that we have more than that. And if I brought my wife up here, she would probably start launching into some of her own. But this is why it's important to have these these conversations with your family, because dude, if you're all on the same page and as things start to go, right, as kids get older, as you and your wife get older, this is always something you turn back to because it's what means most in life, right? It's what means most to you guys. And so don't overthink this. And Zach, I'll kind of open it back up for you, and we'll give some strategy here. But you guys have 10 to pull from Zach and 4 to pull from me. At least start putting some of this into your thought process so that you can have that conversation with your wife. If it's important to you and if it's a priority, it gets done, right? If it's not important and it's not a priority, it gets an excuse. You guys know that. It's either reality and it gets done, or it's an excuse. And so for me, I would rather at least start thinking about this and putting together a little bit of a plan. I don't need you to go write it all over the refrigerator right now, but having these kind of conversations will be massively important to your marriage moving forward. Some of you guys are quite a bit older than Zach and I, but I will tell you that this has been integral part of the communication piece with my wife and I. I'm by no means an expert pro or any kind of marriage counselor, but we have been married for 17 years. And so we've had some challenging times, just like anybody who has been married for a long time. You're going to have your ups and downs. You're going to have some rocky times. You might be down each other's throats quite a bit during some times in your marriages. But if you have family core values and you can grow together and you always have that foundation that has been established, then you can always have that. You always have something to use as leverage when times do get tough, when things are a little bit trying for you and your family. So those are my 4.
Yeah, man, these are extremely important. So for those of you who have not made any family core values, this is your call to action to definitely set some time up with your family this week, sometime this week. Don't wait. Oh, we'll do it next month. We'll do it next time. You know how that shit goes. Nobody does that shit here. We don't roll like that. Try to do that shit sooner than later. And those of you who do have family core values, this might be a good time to go over and refresh them in your mind. Because remember, we always want to be able to refer back, because when you can reinforce whatever it is that it did with the core value, it just makes it solidified in their mind that much more. Now, for those of you who don't realize, I might be too late, my kid's a little too old, it's never too damn late, dude, because we all know that whenever you do anything productive, it yields dividends, man. It pays back like time and time and time again. If I didn't have any, and we didn't have any specific core values in my family growing up, but we did have like some certain rules that we had to obviously follow, right? Just don't be an asshole, essentially, is really what it is. But if it wasn't for my parents trying to consistently make me make the right choices, I would not be here today. I would not be here today whatsoever. I'd be in prison somewhere, 1000% guaranteed. So you got to realize that what it is that you instill in your kids, and this is why I'm starting early, because it's never too late, but it's also never too early. The reason why I'm doing this right now is because what I instill into my son's head and soon daughter's head, that's going to determine what they do, right? And it's not all just like tangible. It's like we're talking about who they hang out with. We're talking about what kind of actions they take or don't take. If they're around the wrong people, they're going to not even be around them, hopefully, in the first place, and who they even choose as romantic partners. Everything that we teach them is it's gonna give them a radar as to like, hey, I should probably go in this direction instead of that one. That's really what it's all about, guys. So it's not just about having a corny ass set of rules. These core values are going to determine what your children decide to do or not do. Because we all know that they're going to be dumbass kids, just like we were. They're going to make all their mistakes. But to what degree are they going to make those mistakes? How quickly are they going to learn from those mistakes? And how many of those mistakes could they avoid because they learned the wisdom from you by putting together this family core values, rule set with them? That's what this is all about, guys. And even if you don't have kids, even if your kids are grown up, you will want to talk to your kids who have their families about setting up core values sooner than later too. It's never too late, man. You still can have a massive impact on your children, even if your children are adults with children. Remember, that's what this is all about, guys. Leaving the world a better place than when we came here. And how do we do it? Starts with us as heads of the households. So that's me, man. That's all I got. I want to know if there are anybody.
Yeah. Let's open it up for questions or yeah. Do you guys have any you'd like to share?
Yeah. Does anybody here actually have any core values that they'd like to share, man? Because I always love to hear other people's, like their gratitude journal. I like to see what other people are thankful for, right? Because I know mine, right? But if I sat down and was listed everything I was thankful for, it would be a book that never ends, because I would just keep going about every single little thing, right? So I just want to hear if you guys have any other ones that I could just like, oh, nice. I actually like that. That's something I live by. Maybe I might add it onto my own personal list, right? Because that's what we're all here. We're a community of people who want to become better, do better, and help everybody else be better. So if there's anybody that wants to share any core values that they have, unmute yourself, man. I'd love to hear it.
Yes, I'll go first.
Yeah, come on, Bruce.
You have family core values now?
Look at this guy.
I reached out to you guys a few weeks ago after watching the curriculum and saw those core values, and I took a lot of that to heart and shit. Sat down with my family one day after Sunday afternoon and opened up, and shit broke down doing it, guys. And that was eye-opening for me. Man, we created like these words, honest, integrity, and stuff like that. And my daughter, she likes to paint, so she created this canvas, and it's a family tree with the branches of these family core values. But one of the so that's cool. I can't wait to share with you guys when that comes up. But one of the things that was very important to us was you do what you say you're going to do, right?
Yep, love it.
and it's real simple. If you say you're going to get up and you're going to go outside and you're going to work on, soccer with my son, well, you get up and you go fucking do it. You know
Yes,
why? 'Cause
sir.
even if you don't want to do it, but it's trained your mind. It calluses your mind, right? So,
Yep.
and then Zach, I took one of yours. You do what's right, not what's easy. And so, anyway, that's what I got, guys.
Hell yeah, dude. I love to hear that, Bruce. That's so awesome, man.
What about that thing, Jason? Sorry, let me cut you off here, but like when we first talked, before Bruce joined the Fatherhood, he's like, "Do you have family core values? That's awesome." So he didn't have any. I don't think you did, Bruce.
Right.
Correct me.
No, he sat down with his family, and that's so awesome, dude. Being a man of your word, like, even though that's so, it should be standard, right? But that's a massive value, dude. Like, because training your kids to be people of their words, right? Like following through with the commitments they make to themselves and others, right? Like you said, Bruce, if you're gonna get out and go play soccer, get your ass up and go play soccer. That's how you train your mind to do the things you don't want to do, right? Like when you don't want to go to the gym, it's a lot easier to talk yourself into it when you've been doing that every time something hard comes up. You're like, fuck it, I'm doing it anyway, right? So, no, that's awesome, dude. That's awesome. Anybody else want to chime in?
Hey guys, TJ.
Yeah.
So my son has my 9-year-old son has had anxiety pretty much since his mom and I split up back when he was 3. It's about 6 years. And he got bullied a lot. Well, he's been bullied a lot in all the schools because he's a little bit socially awkward. He doesn't get time to really hang out with friends because he lives with his mom and she doesn't like people. It's pretty much the easiest way to say that. She doesn't ever take him around play dates or, anything like
stuff.
So I've always taught him, it's better to stand up for the guy that can't stand up for themselves. I've tried to, because of what I do and the choices I made in my life. So I do have a funny story that I've tried to instill that in him, regardless of who picks on you, if they're picking on somebody else, do your best to try and stand up for them without causing any confrontation. However, I guess about 6 months ago, they were on the playground and a kid came up and literally punched his friend in the face. And my son put him in a chokehold and brought him down to the ground. And I got called by the principal and they said, we're going to suspend your son for 3 days for putting someone in a chokehold. What are you going to do to punish him? And I said, not a damn thing. I said, did the kid who punched his friend in the face get in trouble? Oh no, the teacher didn't see that. They just saw your son choking him. I said, well, I believe my son, and
that's a proud dad moment right there.
Yeah, I was totally proud. And I called his mom and said, I don't think we should punish him. And she said, no, neither do I. I'm with you on that. So standing up for others, that's one of my big ones, just because he's been bullied and he has it. My daughter's 8, just a year younger than him, and they go to the same school. And I'm always telling him, you need to look after your little sister because she's the most important person in your life.
Yeah, dude, I love that. And, it's going to be very easy for him to adopt that behavior because he was bullied, right? So now him getting to do the chokehold on the kid, do you know how much confidence that probably built for your son, dude? Just that one opportunity to use that built up aggression that other people were bullying him. And now, like, he's going to have that radar off, right? Now he's going to be the almost the bully watcher. And so I love it, dude. Him learning that now after his past, it's going to be even more powerful than if he wasn't bullied, right? Because like now he knows what it's like, and now he's obviously been on the other end too. Like, hey, I was bullied, and now I've also stepped in and stopped bullying, right? And so that's awesome, dude. I can't imagine how confident your son felt after that. I'd been proud as hell after that.
Yeah, I was definitely excited.
Yeah,
that's not a funny story. That's an awesome story.
That's an awesome story. Yeah, hell yeah.
Just like I said, when kids or whoever messes up, you can always refer back to the, hey, what's number, whatever. It's also a great way to reward them and applaud them and say that you're proud of them for doing what's right too.
Yep.
So that's awesome, dude. Stand up for the guy that.
Yeah, the thing that made me most proud is that he was actually really afraid of getting in trouble for what he did, which indicates to me that he doesn't have that. Yeah, he's not that aggressive guy that's just going to take someone down. For whatever reason. He actually did it for a reason and then was still afraid that, he was going to face consequences.
Right.
Yeah. That's awesome, dude. Yep. Good shit.
Wow. Anybody else got any other ones they want to share, man? I love these.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
cool,
that,
man.
that just shows that he cares, dude. And that's, I mean, seems like you got a good one there, TJ.
Stand up, little productive citizen right there.
Yeah. Raising him right, dude. Anybody else? Fensky, you got anything?
A lot
You know I
like
gotta
what,
put you on the spot.
of course. Couple like the rest of the guys did, and the one thing I did kind of like TJ with my boys, I always told them, I said, listen, you don't start shit, but you finish shit. And you know, if somebody's picking on you or picking on somebody else, you have all the rights to friggin' beat the shit out of them. And if somebody says anything, I got your back, all 110%. That's one. The other thing I always instilled in my kids, I said, listen, you can act like a jackass in front of us in our house, but when you step foot out of the house, you're representing the family, and you need to respect the family name. And my kids are in their 20s now, and I've never gotten a bad report from anybody about my kids when they're outside the house. So
I love it.
just, you know, listening and yeah, it worked. And just, you know, the same thing like you guys, a lot of you guys are saying is just, you know, be a good guy and do the right thing and respect people.
Good stuff, Fensky.
Yeah.
Love it.
Man.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. All right, man.
What else we got? Anybody else? Jason? You haven't heard from you, dude. You all right over there? Gotta run. No, Brian's gone. Okay, cool.
Yeah, you have to go pick up the kids.
Yeah, all good?
I think that just wraps it
All
up,
right,
man.
we'll
But
wrap that. Yeah.
that these family core values that you refer back to are going to determine literally what happens with your lineage.
Your
Literally.
future. Yeah.
Yes. Do not leave it up to chance. Leave it up to choice. And if you choose to create these core values so that you can instill them into your child, you're going to maximize their odds of success and being a fucking damn productive, good member of society, man. Again, like I said, leave it up to choice, not chance. Everybody has this like generic, like, don't be bad, don't get in trouble, blah, 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 blah. But specifics, remember, man, if we have specific goals, we are more likely to hit them. You cannot win a game of darts if you don't know where the damn bullseye is, right? You got to know what it is you're striving for. You can't just be like saying, oh, just be a good person is the same as just being like, hey, just throw a dart at the dartboard. That's cool, good enough. No, we need to know where the target is. So be very specific because that's going to determine what happens with your lineage. And people don't think about this, man, but trust me when I say it can potentially be life altering. We'll just put it that way. Like I said, man, if it wasn't for what I went through and what I've done and how I've changed, my life would be completely on the other end of the spectrum here, guys. So it's very important, man. So I just want to let you guys know that if you still do not have them or if it's incomplete, now is your time to get it done now. That's what we're saying. That will be the homework assignment. Finish your family core values, add whatever you need, go over them, refresh it with your kids, test your kids, whatever you need to do so that you can make sure that shit is instilled in their mind. Not only is it going to help you, but it's going to help make it happen, guys.
The more you talk about it, the more everybody's going to be on the same page. It's not a one-time conversation. Bye.